ESN TV coverage of the 12th Annual Consortium for School Networking Conference is sponsored by Smart Technologies, N Computing, and CCC Video on Demand, in cooperation with Cable in the Classroom and Consortium for School Networking.
The CoSN initiative for K-12 Open Technologies is essentially designed to be a resource for education technology leaders to inform them about the possibilities and the opportunities in the open source and open technologies world and what impact that they can have not only in the classroom but in the administrative environment. So it's designed essentially to be an information resource for CTO types who are looking to implement, as well as even some of the technology level people about what technologies are available and what they can do with them.
This eSchool News interview from the 12th Annual CoSN Conference will continue after this message.
N Computing's mission is to get a computing station in front of every student at every school. Our technology works by installing an N Computing PCI card into a normal desktop PC. You then take a simple networking cable and connect it to an N Station box. All you have to do then is install our software, a monitor, mouse, and keyboard, and you are ready to go. With the N Computing stations, you can expand one host by up to 7 stations. This means that effectively you are turning one PC into the equivalent of 7 PCs for a fraction of the cost of buying a new PC.
Why are open technologies significant for school leaders to at least understand and explore?
Well, today, with budgets being what they are, technology and technology's prevalence in the classroom, it becomes more and more difficult to keep up with not only current trends, but to provide the tools to give our students the opportunity to learn those 21st century skills that are so important these days. And open technologies provide an opportunity to access some of the technology that we might not otherwise access. Things such as social networking, blogging, and podcasting, key technologies that we consider commonplace today, were invented in the open source world. So obviously they're very available there, and they make nice resources for educators as well. They also give education an opportunity to explore new technologies they might not otherwise explore. For example, if you're worried about licensing costs and project costs and those sorts of things all the time, you suddenly find yourself limited. Well, I'd like to do this, but it costs me this, and I'd like to do that, but it costs me that. You don't have the opportunity to really try these things and see how they work before you engage in the process of evaluating a technology. So it provides a lot of opportunity for educators to really take advantage of technology and use it.
And what are some of the key challenges to using open technologies in a school environment?
Well, probably the number one challenge to open technologies is just education. Realistically, most people don't have a lot of experience with open technologies, especially in the school system. So, and that's part of the drive of the Open Technologies Initiative, is to educate educators about the possibilities there. Other difficulties are, where do I find support? How do I interact with the community and those sorts of things? And all of those things are learned skills, and we're trying to provide basically the resources and the direction that CTOs and technology leaders need to move in the open technologies direction.
Now, when people hear open technologies, the first thing that comes to mind is open source software, but open technologies is really about much more than that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, when we refer to open technologies, we treat it a little differently. Most people, like you say, think open source and Linux and things like that, and that is a key part of it, an important part of it. But we also cover open standards, which are clearly defined standards of function that can be used to enable things like interoperability, where different systems can share data and share information. And we also cover open content, which is actually covers things like user-generated content, freely distributable content, content with, for example, copyleft instead of copyrights on them, where you are allowed to copy them and use them in the classroom so long as you give people credit and those sorts of things. And inevitably we end up covering topics like copyright and then those sorts of things as well. So there's a broad spectrum of open technologies, and we're trying to cover all of the different bases in that regard. So far, our initiative has covered mostly open source software, but we're moving forward with open content case studies and some things like that to help improve the initiative's value to the CTOs.
This eSchool News interview from the 12th Annual CoSN Conference will continue after this message.
CCC, the new leader in video on demand, offers the latest technology available on no other system. CCC's intranet-based solution provides true video on demand. No downloading, no buffering. CCC's programs are encoded at H.264 that provides DVD-like picture quality. CCC is flexible and interactive and allows you to incorporate the iPod and webcasts into your classroom. For more information on CCC Video on Demand, visit ndmccc.com.
What are some of the key questions that school leaders should consider as they're thinking about moving to adopting open technologies?
Well, the key questions, of course, would be, am I prepared to do that? You do need, there is a certain degree of training that's obviously required, and a fair amount of experimentation and those sorts of things. The key questions would be, where can I get training? How can I get my staff up to speed before I start working on this thing? Other than that, what are my support resources? Do I have resources like the K-12 Open Tech Project where I can get information on solutions for my problems and interesting technologies to meet my needs? Those are the types of preparatory things that people would want to do. Also, you'd want to look at your total cost of ownership and your typical things. Generally, when you're looking at open source projects, you'll find that total cost of ownership is almost a zero. You've got a little bit of training costs up front and those sorts of things, but ongoing costs kind of disappear. So cost suddenly becomes a non-factor, but you still do need to look at some of the initial training costs and the initial preparation costs and those sorts of things. So just like any other project, you have to consider it carefully.
Any other advice that you would have to other districts that are considering the whole open source or open technologies issue?
Well, my advice would be there are really two kinds of CTOs out there. Okay, there's a CTO that considers everything based solely on reliability. These are the people who go specifically for, I want the solution that's proven, that's been working forever, that I've got the one throat to choke, all of those sorts of things. But one thing that you'll note about CTOs that are key or are reliability oriented is that they're not the ones who are innovating. I would encourage CTOs out there to be concerned more with viability than reliability. Is this a viable solution? Will this be effective in the classroom? Will this be effective in the administrative tools? Will this help our district improve our district? Will it make more resources available for other things in our district? Those are the approaches to take. Is this viable versus is this reliable? I would suggest considering open technologies, is it a viable solution, and move forward from that.
The interactive whiteboard is immediately impressive. They have found an increase in student participation, and that is also translated into higher test scores. Synchronize is a classroom management product that runs on the laptops of the students as well as the teacher. Synchronize allows that teacher to effectively manage the students in a one-to-one environment. Bridget is our conferencing software. Bridget really becomes a very valuable tool for delivering online learning. The Centio student response system allows the teachers to present questions to students and allow them to respond and answer in their own way. The benefit of being able to go to one solution provider to get this seamless integration of all the products working together in that environment.